Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. But hey, welcome to this episode of the Money Monday Coaching Glow. Glad to have you guys here. We had it's obviously a little bit of a cold snap here in Austin, Texas, a little icy. We've been chilling here at the house. No loss of power. Internet's been working, so it's just been kind of a normal day, except for it being like 18 degrees here in Austin, which is unseasonably cold. But everything's it's been going well as long as you stay off the roads because people just don't know how to drive here in Texas. But anyway. Today's coaching call, I thought I would dive in and do a little bit of a deeper dive on a couple of these Texas non-performing notes. This past Saturday, we did a live stream breakdown for just over 2 hours on 3,067 non-performing first liens, which is a remaining batch left over from the 4,200 note breakdown we did about a week and a half ago. And tonight, part of our marketing process is that out of this spreadsheet of 4,000, originally over 450 non-performing in Texas, there's still over 200 notes still in Texas. And I believe some of these are pretty interesting looking, doing a little deeper dive over the past couple days. So I thought we would look at one or two of them. I know that we've got a coaching student interested in one of them for sure. So I figured we would spend some time on that one, breaking down this one in Tyler. Already done a little bit of homework on this as well. And one of the great things, guys and gals out there, is that if you are a coaching student, you get first crack at the bids, stuff like that. And then our monthly membership get the next round of acceptance. So we did send out the spreadsheet of just the Texas assets. I probably should have gone in and filtered through the full 3,000 with all our formulas and all the other things that we did this Saturday. And I'll do that afterwards for those that are in the WCN crew that are watching this later on or watching it right now. But anyway, like I said, it was 18, 19 degrees this morning when I went out in my morning little walk around my little block here with my coffee. It was 20 degrees, so a little chilly, but the deals are hot inside. So if you're catching this replay, go back and watch the 3,000 breakdown Saturday. It's 2 hours, and then you may join me live here on NoteNightInAmerica.com. That's the link to RSVP to be on Monday night's call. But anyway, let's pull up the spreadsheet, and we'll dive in from there to give you guys a bit of a recap on this. Okay, so Texas notes. Let's go 3K. Let's do this one. So 3,000 notes with formulas. Okay. So yeah, this list is long. It's all across Texas. Let me give you a bit of a geographic breakdown on it first. I think that would be helpful so you guys can see kind of where it's located. And now this is a picture of the one in Tyler that we'll be diving into. It's owner occupied. But when you look at the map of all the ones in Texas, it's literally in just about every major spot in Texas, major cities from us, Dallas, DFW, even up in Amarillo by morning, out in West Texas, as we call the western part, El Paso, we kind of give that to New Mexico in a different time zone. San Antonio, Houston, Corpus Christi, even down in the valley, Laredo, Reynosa, the next down there, Waco, all the way up I-35, and then even out in the piney woods of East Texas, stuff like that. And then out in Abilene, Midland, Landman area. Now, the great thing about the spreadsheet, there's a lot of information. Now, we have the last paid, when they're due, if it was a purchase mortgage, great, if it was a refinance, stuff like that. And so there's a lot of information to help you judge whether these can be potential great deals for subject to deals, where they're at 90 to 120 days past due. The reason I say subject to that versus a non-performing note purchase is you're probably not going to get as big a discount when they're only like 90 to 120 days past due. Just not that big a discount. And that's okay. Texas is the fastest foreclosure state in the country. All right. These borrowers are all behind. And yeah, you can make offers to buy the note and stuff, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. Completely fine. I think that this tape, though, makes more sense. Not only approaching it from the non-performing side, especially the ones that are beyond 6 months in default, why the lender hasn't already started the foreclosure process. Well, they're not. They're not a Texas company. They're outside of Texas. But there's a mixture of REOs, which means they've already foreclosed on chunk of these. We do have the legal status where they're kind of at initially, not with in the process or foreclosure. We don't have every date for everything. But it does give us a lot of information. And let me jump on over to that spreadsheet. Okay, this is for those that are looking at the spreadsheet I sent this morning in the WCN crew Basecamp, just disregard that, and we want to look at this one for the time being. So I've got loan number, city, state, zip, all that good stuff, the AVM values. Whoops, let me do this, because what I did, is this the right? Yeah. I went in this morning and tried to pull values on one tape. I need to go over and do a little bit more. So, but when I was pulling addresses on some of these that didn't have values or AVM numbers on it, I found that there's a 17-acre kind of mini ranch up by Texarkana. There's a couple that like 12 acres outside of Waco. So there is some parcels. I mean, when we were looking at this tape on Saturday, there's a property in North Carolina, it's 33 acres. So reasonably priced, I thought, for the most part, from what I can tell. So there's opportunity all across the country on the bigger list that bids are due on Wednesday, for those of you guys that don't know that. But anyway, so we go have the original balance, the current balance on all of these. If it's a fixed or ARM, the estimated legal balance I added, I should highlight that in green because what I did is took the number of months behind times the P&I payment and I added that plus the recoverable balance on any advanced lender advanced escrow like taxes, insurance, stuff like that. And then what I did equity wise is we took the legal balance and subtracted that from the AVM or fair market value they pulled. I think they just pulled Zillow's on these, but that's okay. So it gave us an equity position percentage. All right. Whoops, what did I do here? That allowed us, with there is equity, to get a rough pricing guide if you're buying the note. We ran some numbers on the offering side of these things here. Some of these numbers are off, and I can just copy those numbers all the way down because some were subject twos. We're like, okay, we're not going to offer on the note side of the stuff that's at 90 to 120 days late. It's more of an aspect of market directly to the borrowers. Now, the borrower's name is not on this list, okay? And that's okay. You have to go back and research that yourself. And the one that we looked at earlier, I've already gone and researched it and found the borrower's name, if they own any taxes and stuff like that. And those are things that we'll walk you through kind of this morning, okay? Uh, if you're if it's an REO, what are you offering on it and net and stuff like that? 12-month P&I if you making payments. The yield if you're buying the note and they just make 12 months of payments. The yield if they you can bring 16 months to the table at a minimum. Okay. What does that look like in the cash flow? Let's see here. Let me go over here. Loan type, loan term, remaining term, original rate, current rate, P&I payment. I highlighted that in green because you're going to need that. That's on here already. Total payment, that's PITI. FICO scores are great. The date is not on there. We can hide that. Original LTV, current LTV, all that good stuff. Front end debt to income, that's nothing on there. Back end debt to income ratio, don't really care about. Back payments due, we figured that in by taking the P&I times the number of P&I. Occupancy, property type, number of units, we can hide that. Loan purchase, loan purpose of purchase or cash out. Refi type, doc type, we can hide these QM flags. We don't need these there. There's nothing really in there. Sales price, if it was a purchase, origination date, first pay date, paid through date, and then you can see next due date, which is highlighted in green is valuable. And then we have these first ARM reset dates. We don't need those. We'll hide those. Then we have number of months behind that we figured in there. Mortgage insurance flag, if there is coverage for that. Loan status, this is important. Bankruptcy, we're going to bold this. So you can have an idea. BK status, and if it's in foreclosure status, suspended, active, no. You see that for their active or suspended it. And then you have the pay string here. And then they've got these three columns for his numbers of 30 days behind. We're just going to hide those. If a prepayment penalty, any known BECs, any forbearance on this, those are blanks. And then the foreclosure begin date or forbearance begin date, those are all blanks. We're going to hide those. You can see escrow advances. That's usually where they pay the taxes or forced place insurance. Recoverable advances, third-party advances, that kind of stuff. And then the first legal date that's important in some of these, the AVM values, the confidence score on those values. They're not sending out and doing a full exterior BPO, just so you know. They're basically just jumping on Zillow to look at what Zillow's given a value, and then they have a score of that. Is it recently sold? Then if it recently sold, then they can say, okay, yeah, the value on this is pretty close to what's owed. They're going to have a pretty high confidence score. I think 90 is about, 91, 92%. 95 is probably relatively recent. You can see then what I did, let me go back in here. You see total corporate advances, interest advance, interest rate range. I'm not really worried about these. Most of these are fixed rate. And then what I did on the very back end of these is for those that are subject to deals, we kind of ran some numbers. 10% down payment if you basically are selling it at full market value, getting a 10% of fair market value, then you're financing 90%. You're going to basically, I just like to throw a number in there. Interest only loan at 9.9% gives me an easy way to calculate that monthly payment, interest only payment. Then if you take the net cash flow down, what I do with that is take the 10% down payment minus any back payments to figure. So this one is $32,000 down and the cash flow net is 26. So they're about 6,300, 6,200 behind. Then the net monthly cash flow is taking the interest only payment that we calculated and subtracting their P&I payment. So you see if there's a positive cash flow. I'm not doing taxes, insurance, because that's basically a wash. 12-month cash flow is basically taking the 875 times 12. And then the net year one profit is taking the net cash flow down plus the 12-month cash flow to give you a rough idea. And obviously that will adjust. Okay. Every one of these is going to be different when the borrower has equity. Do you pay some of the equity down? If they're upside down, are you going to take over the payments? In that case, no, you would adjust some things. I just ran formulas to give you a bit of an idea. If you don't want to do 9.9, then don't do 9.9. Just don't go higher here in Texas for the most part, because Texas, you start getting above 10%, it becomes a high cost loan, and then it adjusts how you can charge for things. So being at 9.9, no balloon, you can be pretty good when you're owner financing here in Texas. I would highly recommend, if you are going to be doing stuff here in Texas, go back and listen to my recent podcast episode a few weeks back with Nirvana Root, and then also Alan Shesker. Alan Shesker talks about, as he calls subject to's non-qualified assumptions, and he's a great attorney here doing a lot of subject to deals or non-qualified assumptions, taking overpayments and doing wraps. And then Nirvana is also a great RMLO talking about owner financing here in Texas, what you need to know, because the laws have changed recently here in the Lone Star State. So let's go back here. So one of the things we discovered on Saturday is we just said, okay, what's one of the lower value balances? And we came across this one in Tyler. So where the borrowers got some equity. Now, if you are wanting to buy notes that can potentially, especially non-performing notes that can potentially turn into reperforming, it's pretty good to look at stuff where there's equity, where people have lived in the property for a while and, they've got some equity. They don't want to lose it. Taxes are paid up to date for the most part. And let's take a look at this one. So this one, to give you an idea, let's pull up the photo here. So this one in Tyler, Texas. If you got questions, feel free to throw it in the chat here. So I did a quick Zillow view. Here's the assessor's website. All right. They bought this property back in 2008 is when this Mrs. Espinoza bought it from the Vasquez family. Okay. It's a warranty deed dated 9/2/2000. So they've lived in this for a while. Now, and it's right there, 608 South Palmer. Okay. Let me scroll up there. That's the parcel. Give you a bit of idea of that. Let's look at Smith County, because now Tyler, Texas is in Smith County. And this looks like, okay, so anyway, my browser is down here on this. Maybe the county is. But it showed zero taxes owed. So that's the important thing. I went on their tax assessor's website, typed in the address, found zero taxes owed. Now, this is a picture of the property from June of 2022, a few years back. Okay? Now, do we know why the borrower stopped making payments? No, we'll dive in a little bit more of that in a second here. But as you can see, when I see something like this tells me the borrower, even if it's a few years old, the borrower has or had, if they're deceased or just not living in the property anymore, had a lot of emotional equity. They've got solar panels on the roof. They've got the Texas Star. They've got some pots. They've got some plants outside. They've lived here for the crosses. They got, cannas in the background. It may not look like it's mowed, but these are probably flowering plants I have along the fence line. You see everything else is mowed. So my bet is this lady's just got plants on the side here that are flowering. As you can see over here is the bougainvillea here in the corner. This tree, I don't know what this tree is, but hey, it's not so wildly. But the pit, and then the barbecue pit, and then the cannas in the background, kind of, and then they've also got some landscaping with the bricks there, decorative bricks there. So while it might look a little unruly, I'm sorry, it actually looks pretty nice. A lot of emotional ownership. And Tyler Okay, it's a little older community based on some of the houses, but this is a two-story house. Okay, doesn't look too bad. I like it. Now, would I live in it? Maybe not. Maybe it's a little small. Who knows? But if we go back over here, let's do this. Let's just look at the details of this one. All right. 608 South Palmer Avenue. All right. So it's a basically four bedroom, three bath, 2,300 square foot. It's on a 6,240 square foot lot. So it's a normal, just lot size. Probably, what is it, 1/8 of an acre. Built in 1940. Like I said, a little older. They give it a value of 219,400. Okay. And as you can see, the values have gone up as much as 250 middle of last year, and it's kind of dropped down to 215. Okay. All right. That doesn't really concern me for the most part. You see some stuff that's moving, sold, 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 which is kind of good. Um, okay, so here's the thing. This shows something because this news looks like a new listing. Okay, this lady's been there since 2008. She refinanced a few years back. Plenty of room, great remodel home near TJC, Tyler Junior College is what TJC stands for. Great for students or large families. Ceramic tile on first floor with carpet and bedroom. Upstairs, all rooms are carpeted and baths have been tiled. Call to see this great home. Okay, so something has happened. This property has been listed for sale before. So let's scroll down here and see if it's been listed, the kind of the aspect of it. So, oh, so this goes back to 2008. Okay, that's the oldest listing. So this lady hasn't listed or anything at all. Okay, so disregard this old listing thing that the Vasquez has put up before our lady Mrs. Espinoza bought it back in September. Okay, so let's go back to the tail of the tape. All right. So I've got it highlighted here in green. Original balance is 72. Current balance is 43. So that's that original mortgage on this thing. Okay. Total payoff is about 47 and some change. She's got a ton of equity because we took the fair market value. So we got 218,000 in equity. Okay. This is where I'm like, this borrower is probably not going to want to lose this property. They're going to file bankruptcy and it's going to become a payment plan. All right. Now, if they just reinstate, they start making the monthly payment and you make an offer, what I figure 80% of the legal balance since there's so much equity. I believe that's one too. Yeah. Equity percentage, 82%. Yeah. 80% of legal balance. And you could make it if there was back taxes owed on this thing, I would drop it down by the taxes owed for the most part. But there's no taxes owed. So $38,000. Okay, you're making an offer at 80 cents on the dollar. Okay, that's only a $9,000 difference on that. Okay. Maybe you need to drop it down more from there. But that's the thing is if you buy it at 38, okay, and she starts making payments. Let's first see how far behind she is. So 5.25 P&I payments just at $400 a month, $398. Back payments due $397. So she's about 10 months behind. Now that's getting all right. No cash out refinance. She just did a straight refi a few years back. Originated the new loan in 2014. So she refinanced out of a higher rate into a lower rate. Okay. June, she paid through 10 years on this new mortgage and she stopped paying in April. Her last payment was paid in April of last year. So she's behind from May. Okay, 10 months behind, coming up on 11 months behind. I don't know why they haven't foreclosed on this yet. So maybe giving her some time. So it's in loss mitigation. There's no bankruptcy on this. All right. No prepayment penalty. Buys about 266. There's been some corporate advances, interest advances, stuff like that. Okay. I don't really think it's a sub 2 deal. So on this one, she's in loss mitigation. So trying to stay in it. So that's the thing where it comes in. Okay, she's 10 months behind. Let's go back here to our calculations on the thing aspect of buying it and keeping it as a mortgage. So, all right. So if we get her to make 4 months of on time, oh no, sorry. She comes to the table and say, listen, bring some money to the table. 4 months times 400 is $1,600. She brings 1,600 to the table and then continues to pay the $400 a month. That's going to be roughly, that's why we figured 16 months ROI. If you bring 16 months and 12 months and you pay 38, that's a 17% cash and cash return in the first year. Now, if you can get her to bring more than 4 months to the table, that's a benefit. Now, I have no idea why this lady fell behind. Okay. Now, Judy asked a really good question on Saturday. Well, how do you know if they can make any extra payments? Well, most of the time, there's been some sort of health issue or things like that where people fall behind and stuff. Now, I don't know. Let's do something here. Let's go back here. One thing I like to do is let's search for the borrower's name. So, all right. So, one thing I like to do is just paste Espinoza, Tyler, Texas. Let's see what pops up there. All right. Argelia Espinoza. Okay. She is, let's see here, rough an idea. We're looking for some. So this is May 11th of last year. Okay. Tyler woman contracted COVID, lost father knows recalls family's plight. Well, that might be her. Or lost her father. Okay. And so basically had a death in the family. Okay. There's a picture probably from inside the house. Who knows? Okay. Question here from somebody. Oh, my apologies. So all I did is I just Googled her name and said Tyler, Texas, and it popped up these different articles. Thanks for commenting. So you can see this Tyler woman who contracted COVID, lost father to illness, recalls family plight. So that's why what happened. She probably got sick because this article is back in May 11th to 20. Well, that's 5 years ago. Never mind. My apologies. So, but we see on here. So she works. Okay, so there you go. She works at University of Texas Health Science Center. All right. She works there at the hospital. All right. Public speaking, some other things. Okay. So it looks maybe she got sick. Maybe she got laid off. I don't know. Um, we know what well, let's see. University of Texas Health Science Centers at Tyler's salaries. Okay. Well, that's just the salaries. Okay. Do they give us anything here? You can see her fewer salary on there. So that's the thing to look at. Okay, so hopefully she's still working. Maybe she got sick, who knows, and just has fallen behind and get back on track. So I like this. If she's still living in there, still owner occupied, um, I like this deal. Now would I offer 38 or maybe I go a little bit lower? I would offer maybe 35, 34 and see if a counter comes back in place. Okay. That's what I would look at because that's kind of an idea here. And that's why it makes sense, I think. Because if you come back here, let's run this over here. Let's just drop it down to say, let's try 35. That way, if you don't um, get her to reperform, you're going to make a little bit of money. You're going to make about 12 grand, 10 grand at the foreclosure auction with your time here in Texas. But that's the thing. Like, listen, if she's been in loss mitigation for a while and has been making any payments in 10 months and can't make anything, let's not mess around anymore. Okay? Like, look, you've got some equity. You have somebody can take over the payments for you. If you got sisters there, can help you. It's $400 a month for just the principal interest amount. Taxes are paid, and I'd be willing to bet either the family made those taxes or the lender made those taxes. But I don't see any advanced taxes on that stuff. So, but if you pay 35 for the note, guess what? That pops up to an 18% cash and cash return if she just makes 4 months of payments, and then 14% year after that without any extra payments. Now, if she does make extra payments, I mean, like you could say, like, let's look at it this way. So if I mean, she starts paying the $400 a month, and you allow her to say, okay, look, okay, so you're 10 months behind. Let's just say 4 grand behind. 4 grand behind. And let's just say we allow you to make $100 extra a month to get caught back up. You're going to pay $500 a month for the next 40 months. Okay. So that's 500. Let's do this here. 500. That's 6 grand a year. 6 grand divided by 35,000. That's 17% ROI before your servicing costs. for the next 3+ years. Why wouldn't you hold that, right? I would do it. I wouldn't mod. I'm not saying modify the rate, but we're going to do an extended trial payment plan. Okay. Can you bring five? Can you bring 2 months to the table and then make $100? So let's do that. Let's say, okay, I'm going to ask you to bring 2 months of payments plus $500. Your new payments, P&I payments will be $500 a month for the next couple months, right? So if we say, yeah, it's six, so she brings 2 months of payments, 400 times two, that's 800. Plus she's making $500 a month of payments. That's 6,800 in first year. 6,800 divided by 35,000. That bumps it to 19% cash and cash return. And then the $100 extra per payment, 400 times 6 comes to 6 grand. 6 grand divided by 35. That's 17%. Judy's over there loving this deal. If you can get it for 35. Okay. But even if you can't get it for 35, you get it at 38. Let's just do those numbers. Okay. So say, hey, we need you to bring something to the table, 2 months to the table, and then $100 extra per month for the next couple years. So that's 6 grand, 6,800 divided by, we'll just say 38,000. Even if it's just it's under 17.9% yield gross. Take your servicing costs out of there. Yeah, put it with Covey Financial at $25 a month or $15 a month, and that's a pretty good cash flowing little note. And of course, if it doesn't play ball, guess what? You got a $200,000 asset that can be taken care of. Now, my biggest goal would be like, listen, I mean, it's at 5.25. She's not going to refinance you out. These have been her owner occupant. Okay. Does she have a family member that could take it over? Yeah, maybe she does. Maybe she's got kids. Who knows? $400 a month plus taxes. The taxes would be the expensive part. So, like your total P&I payment, let's look at that. 400 a month is or 398.77, whatever it was. So our total payment is 775 a month. That's taxes and insurance. That's not so bad. Okay. And it does seem kind of small on the taxes, but anyway. Yeah, so she's instead of paying 400, instead of paying 775, she's paying, let's just say 900. Brings 2 months, brings $800 to the table as two back of P&I payments. Okay. And then you go from there. Questions, comments, concerns. That look like a pretty good little deal? I think it does. I don't think it looks bad at all that way. Okay. All right. Question here from somebody. Oh yeah. You have to say that as Judy would say, is what is that? The Kool-Aid man? Oh yeah. Here we would have Rick Flag going, yeah. All right. So Judy, I will hold that one for you to make an offer on come this Wednesday then. All right. So let's see here. And let's take these out. Okay, so let's take it out. Let's look at other things in Texas here. Let's expand it out for the rest of the state and look at something else that's got a pretty good yield. And then we can do it deeper down here. Like there's REOs on here. Let's, for those that are curious about foreclosures, let's look see how many REOs are in Texas here that are remaining. So there's Rockwall, Greenville. Greenville's just outside of Dallas. Level Land's outside of kind of very east of Waco. Texas City is Houston. Waco's just up the road. La Vega, Dallas, Abilene, Selma, and Laredo's down in the valley. So you've got some opportunities there. For sure, take a look at that. And on those, I'd probably offer 65, 70 cents of the dollar. All right. And those are all going to be if you offer somewhere around, 65% of fair market value. You got to look and see taxes out, stuff like that. And your net's going to be, you get some good profit. If they're in good condition, you turn around and flip them pretty fast. This is just straight gross. It's not including any closing cost commissions, that kind of stuff. Okay. Still want to get inspections and drive. I would say full inspections, but walking. You might be able to get interior inspections. I don't know if the lenders put lock boxes on these or not. They're not like some of other folks that take the stuff back, but they may have. Who knows? All right, let's go back here and change these back to the. Now, the BK, let's do about NPN BKs here. That means where the borrower's filed bankruptcy. Okay. Now, let's see here. This one in Montgomery. I looked at this one in Montgomery. Let me do this real fast. I forgot to put the value on this one. Okay. Now this Montgomery one, I've got a realtor that literally lives just down the street from it. Actually know her very well, Belinda Baldwin. It's not a bad looking property. I remember looking at it this morning. Yeah, 247. It's this little house right here. Okay. 3 bedroom, 2 bath, 1938. It might be this one. Let's see. So 247 too. Now, when they filed bankruptcy, 247, 200. Okay, so let's go over here and look at our yields. So it should populate, need value, get value here. Okay. Why is it not letting me? Okay, so equity is equal to, that is equal to, let me go over do this one more time. So I'm taking the value, which we just pulled, 247, minus, estimated legal balance. And there's negative equity in this one. Okay. 65% of fair market value. Okay, so fair market value on that one is at the 240. They got negative equity, so we're making 65% of fair market value, making an offer at 160. Okay. The yield on this one, if they just start making payments, is 13%. Okay. But on the front end, 17%. Now, here's the thing. That's if they bring 4 months to table. Now, that this borrower is in a BK plan. Okay. Let's see here. Let me highlight this so you guys can keep track of this. This borrower is in a BK plan. That means they're probably making payments. Now, let's see over here. Let's go all the way over to their legal side. Single family, no cash refinance. Paid through date July. So they're August, so 4 months or 5 months, August, September, October, November, December, January. So they're 6 months behind, 7 months behind, really. Yeah. So they're in bankruptcy, BK standards, foreclosure status, suspend, no. All right. So something happened to them. All right. See, escrow advances. So they've made some probably property taxes and insurance on this stuff. Okay. Yeah, 247 too. Yeah. Okay. So this one is if they're in a BK process, hopefully they're making payments. Their plan is to, as we like to say, make their monthly payment plus some over basically 5 years. So you basically they're gonna make some mortgage payment, and then for 5 years it's like a payment plan. If they don't fall through in the payment plan, you can kick them out and then go to foreclose. Now here's the thing: you buy this at 160, you could probably talk a deed in lieu to these borrowers, like, hey, you're upside down. It doesn't make sense for you to stay in the property. I mean, I know you filed bankruptcy, but maybe they aren't making payments on that. But that could be a potential one at 160 because they got negative equity. So you make an offer. If they decide to say play ball, great. If not, then you got you know, what was that, 240? You got about $70,000-$80,000 in, let's see here, in equity that you just built. Yes, legal balance is 272. They're behind by 25 or upside down by 25,000. That could be a potential deal in a not bad looking part. Let's go back here. Let's do this one more time. Go back to my share screen. Let's click back here and let's do the map aspect. 5940 peonies. Okay, that's great. 5940. Is it this one? Is it this one? There it is. 940. So it's this property right here. November of last year. So that's a current photo of the property. It's owner occupied. I think you see a little car there and a wreath. Maybe let's see here. It was listed. Let's see if we can see any other. There we go. So 5940 was listed. See, it sold. So this is the, yeah, so this is from last year. So you can kind of see the interior photos of the property. Although this looks like it's one of those AI staged ones, right? They took a picture of the property and they stage it. Okay. Yeah, see, it's a new development. These are yeah, these so Magnolia Spring. So what it is, it's probably the AI aspect of it. Okay. So somebody bought it. Let's go back one more. See, when was this originated? They bought owner occupant. Yeah. Bought it in March of last year and then stopped making payments in July. They made 4 months of payments and then defaulted. That's where it's officially okay. So on that one, I'd be willing to bet when their taxes adjusted, they defaulted. They when they looked at the monthly mortgage payment, they looked at basically the taxes for a lot instead of a new home. And we all know the taxes are going to go up. That's why the taxes look a little slow on that one. Okay. And that's going to be Montgomery, Texas. Let's do this search real fast. What county? Let's see. I think it's Harris County. What county is Montgomery, Texas in? And that's it, Montgomery County. Okay. So let's go over to Netra Online. Online directory. We're going to pick Texas. We're going to pick not Montgomery County. And let's first look at the appraisal district, just for the heck of it. I bet if we click on this, we'll probably see where the tax values have changed quite a bit. Okay, so online searches, property search is what we're looking for. I copied the wrong thing. There we go, 5940 peonies. So you see this. So yeah, market value is 271, appraised value. So 71102, 7100. So maybe they bought a second lot. Who knows? Okay, let's just click on one of these. All right, Gary and Vita Burton. Value history. 2023 is 36. Last year, it went to yeah, they should. So they only figured net appraised value was at 135. We think it's more than that. And tax assessor's office is going to be low in a new housing development because they still got a mixture of things. Okay. So, but that's okay. 135. And let's go to back. Let's go see if we can't go straight to the central appraisal district. Let's go to the tax assessors. All right. So Bonnie, 40, let's click on this one. Any back taxes doing this one? Yeah, let's go back. Yeah, current tax levy 1344. Current amount due zero. Prior year due. All right, so should they just owe basically for this current year? Oh, but the lender made the last. Okay, so that's where some of the escrow you see it looks like last payer for current year. That doesn't match up. So they made a payment. Lender or the servicer made a payment on December 23rd to avoid it. So they're behind on taxes. That's part of the back amount. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. So in that one, like I said, could it be a good reperforming? Yeah, if they're making payments. Now, if they file bankruptcy, the great thing you could do is go to pacer.gov and look and do a download of that tax thing. I mean, the BK um, filing and looking at what they file for that and go through that. We'll do that later on. We're not going to do that right now. I don't want to dive into that for you guys, but that's kind of the thing. So there's a whole lot of these. If we go back here, and now that we've got that, so we got Texas here. Let's re-rank these, custom sort. Deal bankruptcies. We look at our yields on just the non-performing side. So you get some of these are not going to make sense. They're just too low balance or too stuff. So you got 16%, 12, 9, 17. There's another 17 one, 19%, 20%, 18, 18, 16, 17, 18, 16, 16, 17. That's if on those of you are going to get a reperform. The REOs, you're going to foreclose. Okay. 20%. A lot of these, they say they're blank there because they're like, okay, they're more marketing for sub two deals. 21%. We can take a look at that one. So you think it's higher than 21%? Nope. Okay. 21%. Let's highlight this one. All right, there. This one's in. Oh, Dripping Springs. It's just down the road there. Okay. Original balance 655. 671 is current balance fixed. Estimated legal balance is 705. Equity negative 219,000. Okay. Um, yeah, they got the monthly P&I payments. Original term 486 months. So they did a 40-year mortgage on this. 6.75. Monthly principal and interest is 4053. They're roughly 8 months behind. They bought it in September 2024 and made 7 months of payments. Yep. Paid through the June. 7 months of payments and defaulted. And it's in foreclosure. Okay. Let's look at this one. That one makes sense to either buy it. Yeah, see, let's look at just say a bit of an ideal. Arrowhead Ranch is kind of a Dripping Springs is growing. It's a lot of growth going on. High school's gone from it's like a 6A. And so let's see here. It's south of Austin. Yeah, sorry, well, west of Austin. See, I up here in the blue dot. That's where that's at. It's probably about an hour drive for me to get out there. A lot of growth going out there, but see these houses are right on top of each other. Well, I don't know if we can drop a little guy on top of it. Nope. Okay, so nothing because it's just so kind of relatively new. So we got any images. Let's look at this. Zillow. Yeah, okay. I almost bet somebody bought this. Let's look at this. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, just like houses in our neighborhood here, but the same. Yeah, I mean, it's staged nicely, isn't it? Why they have a mortgage so high? It's probably this is a builder home. So the builder probably put all these amenities on top of it, and the values dropped because in Austin, in the Austin area, market values have dropped the highest anywhere in the country at 6% on average. Okay. So if you go over here, um, let's do one other thing. So this is going to be what county is Dripping Springs in? Is it Travis County or is it a different one? Hang on here. Hayes County. That's what, and Hayes is one of the highest appreciating markets out there. Probably also taking a little bit of a hit. Okay, so let's go to Netra Online, take a look there. Hayes County. Property search. Let's search. There we go. Yep. Tax assessors at 615. It's owner occupied, so he's just upside down. Bought a new house and something happened. Yeah, you see. Yeah. Okay. So they bought it. Okay, they bought it back in 2022. So he must have refinanced. M Homes lost Daryl and Deborah. Yeah. Refinanced it and then defaulted. It's sad. All right. But it's headed to foreclosure. Hmm. There you go. That's probably going to be it would be interesting to see if it's on the foreclosure rules for Hayes County this coming February. Who knows? Um, we can reach out and find out for that and stuff like that. That's the thing to look at, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, they're upside down. Let's look at, I'm going to look at the tax assessor's website on that one. That's just the appraisal. That's the assessors. Let's go to the tax office. Let's see if they also paid. Nothing showed, so I'd be willing to bet the last. Yeah, I bet you. Payment history was 12/31. He's going to give us a receipt to see who paid. It's not the borrower. No, somebody else. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. A couple different opportunities for you to look at in those things. We'll do a little bit deeper dive on some of these tonight as we go through these 219 plus Texas deals. But an opportunity. I don't think that one makes sense to buy for reperforming. I think it's a foreclosure, especially for that amount. Buy it at a price that makes sense, foreclose on it, and make some profit. Because stuff is still moving in Dripping Springs if you price it right. So we've got actually that's where Beth Busu-Coots from US Risk that we've had on the podcast board lives down in Dripping Springs, not that far. Been down to the baseball field a couple times for playoff games. So growing area. But like I said, distress is happening all across the United States. And Texas is a good thermometer to take a look at when you see defaults going up in the fast foreclosure states. It gives you a bit of an idea that hey, there's more distress. Now in other states like Illinois, Florida, South Carolina, where it takes a year plus to foreclose, it's hard to get a solid grasp on where things are because things can drag out for a year. You don't have a true, like I said, barometric pressure, an idea of defaults that are happening. It's delayed a year. Well, here it's instant gratifications in Texas and Georgia, stuff like that you see if you're not paying and you see foreclosures going up. Actually, let's look real fast here. Let's see. Let's just go over to Roddy's list, FLS Online. And so what we see is that if there's foreclosures in the state of Texas, see, this is just updated. All is complete for all counties. Okay, so let's hit order now. Pre-foreclosure search. 3746, so they're down a little bit this month being the first month. That doesn't surprise me because last month at the end of the year, we had 4,000 right at. But if we look at Hayes, let's just look at Hayes because we searched at this beforehand. I mean, we looked at this last month. Hayes has 27. So maybe this is one of them, may not. But Travis County, 115, Bexar County, 342, Williamson County, which is just north, is 87. Let's look at Dallas counties as well. I'll do a special episode on this anyway for the podcasts. 311, 640 in Harris. Yeah, it's about the same. It's a little down compared to last month, but still plenty of opportunities out there. So, all right, everybody. Any other questions, comments, concerns before we let you go for the day? I want you guys to stay cool, stay warm, stay out of trouble. Like I said, hopefully we'll see you guys tonight on the webinar. If not, don't worry about it. It's recorded, and we'll go from there. But the list is uploaded into the Basecamp group. I'll re-upload this one with all the formulas and all that stuff for you a little bit later today. And go out, have some fun, be safe, and we'll see you guys at the top. Thanks, everybody.